Well then. That makes no sense, dude. The stuff I whatever, dude. I guess you can only do stuff like that on Twitch. Stupid. Like, that wasn't a human that did that to me. No one even cares. Pretty annoying. But whatever, you live and you learn. Cannot believe they're hating. Maybe there's like a list of things that are safe to watch. Like whatever, man. I gotta finish my photo. Better not do it again, homie. Now I'm going to generate something to put in my photo. Thinking like a huge explosion in the background, or like a sci-fi warp portal. Yeah, that sounds cool. Where's that? There's like a maybe this will work. See what I get. This is my sci-fi portal. Let's see. can't believe what they did to me. Alright, got this portal almost generated. Does that look cool? Kinda does. Let's go upscale it. So I make these images small, but then you can upscale them later. Cool, just scaled it by 4 times. Y makes 2. Oh, what am I doing, dude? I need to make a thumbnail, not a square. Still getting used to this streaming stuff. But it really forces me to be kind of more off the cuff, you know. Let's get this green away. Yeah, I didn't get a strike or anything. I guess they have this system where they'll pause your stream if there's copyright stuff detected, and then they'll restart it when it's not. It's very weird. I just ended up stopping and starting a new stream because I didn't know what was happening. But yeah, so that was on YouTube. It's not copywritten or anything. Like, the person who uploaded it obviously didn't own it, but yeah. Pretty uncool, man. I wanted to make like a portal in the background, so I generated one. Well, like a portal explosion thing. Yeah. I'm surprised that they're pretty loose about it, so that's nice. And it's because, dude, like, people abuse that system so bad. People who have vendettas against other YouTubers and stuff like that. It's so annoying. What? I know, that would have been cool to be able to watch that, but I had a feeling. But it's like such an old show and stuff, but whatever, dude. Where is it, dude? Yeah. I mean, there's like other YouTuber stuff, right? I can watch like other YouTuber stuff, but I can't watch stuff that people upload and don't even give credit anyway. Wow. Oh. Alright, let's check out this guy's video, bruh.
Good
I know
evening.
he won't copyright claim me. I mean, if he does, whatever, dude. I'm not monetized, so it really doesn't matter to me that much. Why do I do that? Oh, that's lucky. I like to think of it as science, for science experiments, you know.
Good evening, gamers. Tonight,
So I started playing Starfield yesterday, and I played a few hours. I thought it's awesome, dude. It's really fun game, but my expectations weren't like so high like other people. So I think that's why I like it. And let's see what this relatively small small YouTuber has to say.
I bring you a gift more valuable than gold. Another opinion on Starfield. I know there's already a million of them out there, but this one's unique. This one's not like the other reviews. This one's quirky and zany with a real nice personality and a big pair of honkers. It's my full thoughts on Starfield so far, so it is going to be a review, but it's also kind of an admission of my weakness because I'm just gonna take the egg on my face here and say I don't think I'm finishing the game. Now every
Dang. Well, I mean, I don't finish a lot of games. It doesn't say a lot, but probably means he doesn't like it.
Everyone says that the game gets good after 12 hours. I am just shy of that 12-hour mark, and I gotta be honest with you, sports fans, I can't envision a world where I hit that 12-hour mark and a switch flips on, and all of a sudden it's exhilarating. It blows my hair back, and it's a
Yeah, thanks for
masterpiece.
that,
Like, I
bro.
don't see that happening. But
Dude,
let's
like,
just assume that we are in a
before Starfield, I was playing Fallout 4 because I was excited for it. And there's a lot of similarities, like the inventory, the favoriting, even the button mapping. So I could see how people would be like, oh, it's just Fallout 4.
fantasy dimension where that is the case. That still doesn't excuse the first 12 hours being miserably paced and excruciatingly uninteresting. Like, that is still a bad design if you have to invest 12 hours before the game actually gets good. So, I don't know if that claim is just cope or if that really is true, but even still, it doesn't negate my feelings on how this first just under 12 hours experience has been going. You shouldn't have to put that much time into a game before it makes it worth it.
Well, I do agree with that, though. I think that whole excuse of like, you got to play it so long until it gets good is kind of a lame excuse for game developers. A lot of like weird MMOs do that. The ones where you like drop all your loot when you die and stuff. Everybody's like says you have to play so many hours to get to the good part, but then nobody plays it. So for MMOs, that sucks. But for games like this, I mean, you don't need other people really.
And I want to be clear right away so there's no confusion. It's not because I think the game is bad. In fact, quite the opposite. I think everything in the game is good. But it's also extraordinarily boring and underwhelming. I struggle to stay awake playing it. It's like the cure for insomnia for me. I would rather be listening to my college professor lecture me on the Krebs cycle through Vimeo videos as homework. It would keep me more stimulated than playing through the main quest line in Starfield. And it's not like they've done anything wrong. The thing is, I went into this expecting, on this outrageous amount of hopium, that this would truly be an ambitious Bethesda title that would finally evolve their formula and push it forward.
Yeah, but how? What did you want?
But unfortunately, that's not what it is. This is the standard Bethesda experience that many of you probably know and love, but set in space. No more, no less. And you'll see that sentiment echoed across pretty much every single.
Okay, that's a lie because the spaceship, you can fly it around. The space combat is crazy. You have like three different guns you can control with three different buttons. You can, on the fly, mess with the power of the shield and everything and like move it around to like all of that is like I've never seen that in Bethesda game.
Single player out there. That's like the only universally agreed upon thing when it comes to this game. This is a very divisive game, but you'll find one common thread that everyone agrees that if you like the standard Bethesda formula, you'll probably like Starfield. And I completely agree. This is the standard Bethesda formula. And for me personally, I'm just exhausted with it. Not because of oversaturation. It's not like they keep constantly feeding Bethesda titles to you, like shoving them down your throat every year like Call of Duty or anything. And that's probably why for a lot of people this game is so comfy and is so exciting to them, because it finally scratches that Bethesda itch that they've had since the last title.
Well, if you don't count Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is like this game but different, but pretty similar, I'll say that.
But for me, that itch only gets scratched if the game is an improvement or something bigger. Like, I wouldn't want to just keep playing the same game with a different skin. I loved the Bethesda formula a decade ago, and this feels like it's stuck in the past. This feels like it's still playing with fidget spinners right now. It just, with all of the hype and all of the claims that they were making about this game pre-release, I would have expected so much more than just being complacent with the exact same Bethesda experience that you're used to with a different coat of paint. Now, it's a beautiful coat of paint. I actually love all of the main locations that I've visited so far, and it's not like there's no new mechanics or anything. Like, the ship customization is super in-depth and really cool. The ship combat, I wasn't a huge fan of, but it's not bad by any means. Like, I think it's a good implementation. I would have liked it to be a little more fleshed out, but overall, like, it's still fine and it's super functional. There's a couple other things as well.
If it gets good after a set of hours, because the beginning is the same rehash until a cutscene drops, then level changes and the dinos get, which is awesome. I'm sure it is fun. Like, I don't doubt that what you're saying is fun, but why not start there? You know, especially in this day and age with so much competition and like people's attention spans, like they know if they like a game in like 2 seconds. So you really just have to keep the fun going, especially in the beginning. But I can understand that like without that, a lot of stuff would be meaningless. You know, just like in an MMO, if you just get teleported to max level, like what's the point? It's a hard thing. Game development is hard. People can complain about it, and then when you ask them what they really want, it's hard for them to say.
But I don't know if I can mention them because that'd be spoilery, and I'm not trying to just dump spoilers on you like a jump scare. But there are new things they added. But none of those new things are all that new per se. They're new to the Bethesda formula, but they're very familiar with many things you've seen in many other titles over the last decade. That doesn't make them bad. Again, I don't think there's actually anything bad in the game, aside from the main quest.
Yeah, that's a good point. People don't really want what they want, except for classic World of Warcraft. There's that funny video of the developer saying that exact line where it's like, you think you want it, but you don't. And then they make it years later and it's a huge success. And now even more, there's like another wave of success for it because of hardcore. So super egg on that dude's face.
Storyline. The writing in the main quest line is lazier than my summer book reports in high school. Like, it is kind of laughable at points. They really phone that in. It is some formulaic silliness. I don't want to get too deep on it, but
I mean, it's not much of a spoiler, but in the beginning of the game, you don't have the big spaceship, right? Big whatever. And you get it kind of very easily, which I thought was weird.
that was the only thing that I think is like actually weak. Everything else is fine and good in certain cases. but somehow the game still manages to keep a neutral expression on my face. It doesn't make me smile, it doesn't make me giggle, spit up, and kick my feet in my chair or anything. Like, I don't get excited by the game because I feel like I've already played this so many times with Bethesda. Like, for example, the engine that this runs on hasn't changed in a long, long time. So during
Yeah, I really thought they were using a different engine, but after playing it, I don't know anymore. It does feel like they just really retrofitted Fallout 4, which was a really retrofitted Fallout 3. So I don't know, man.
the main quest line, especially, there's almost no facial animations for any of the NPCs, so it takes all of the emotional investment and immersion right out of it. Because you'll be getting great voice acting from all of these characters, but then you're looking at the character, you're having this goddamn staring contest where they're just staring a hole through your soul, and there's nothing on their face. Even when it's like an emotional beat, there's nothing. So it makes everything so fucking stiff. It's like all you
I think what he's referring to, I know what he's talking about. And it's they do have facial expressions, but the eye contact, like they don't they keep eye contact for too long. So it's like their face is locked to you.
can do is communicate with mannequins like it's I Am Legend. Like, if you're lucky, the extent of the expressions you'll experience in the Starfield main quest line is this.
Yeah. You see, it's like whoever made it was like, all right, lock their eyes to the player, but then they didn't think about like when people converse, their eyes, sure, they'll have eye contact, but not constantly.
And you are beyond fortunate if you even get that much. Because most of the time, and this is even outside of the main quest line, NPCs will give you the meanest stink eye this side of the galaxy's ever seen. If you talk to them or if you walk by them, they'll hit you with this.
All right, he's kind of right.
Like, they're just constantly concerned, like keeping a close eye on you. Like, it's like they're all
Well, that's the tracking too. Like like when you walk by an NPC and their head will kind of like lock to you to make it seem like real, like they're really watching you walk by. But it can be weird.
fucking spies or something. Everyone's giving you the reverse Kubrick stare and they all look like absolute psychopaths. I don't know if that's like a bug or what, but that is a very common expression that you're going to get in your playthrough, no doubt. Now, one thing that they are absolutely right about when it comes to the claims they made about this game is the bugs being much lesser than you're used to. There was a lot of hype around this being the least buggy Bethesda title. And so far, in my playthrough, I've only experienced a handful of bugs, and none of them are game-breaking. Like, there's no big bugs that I've seen on my playthrough, or even in any of the other playthroughs I've been watching.
Yeah, true. One thing I even noticed that they went out of their way to is like when you have a bunch of equipment on your back and everything, when you sit on a chair, it'll only hide what would clip through the chair. So it doesn't look bad and clip, which is pretty cool, which is extra effort for sure.
So this game really is pretty light on Bethesda jankiness, which is great. That's really surprising because, especially given the scope of the game, I would have thought this.
Exactly. Everybody can complain and say what they want, but no one really makes games like this. And sure, we always want more and more, but who knows what's going on behind the scenes in game dev, dude. It's chaos.
Would be by far their glitchiest one, but no, they put WD-40 on those squeaky wheels and they lubricated it. They massaged it. There is not a whole lot of bugs here. So big W on that. And speaking of W's, there is some good writing outside of the main quest line. There is a ton of different things you can do. It's hard to talk about a lot of this without getting into spoilers. But there's a lot of different like factions and a lot of different side quest lines that are pretty deep and intricate. I haven't done a ton of them. I've only done a handful of side quests, but there are some that are far more interesting than the main quest line. Significantly more interesting and better executed. Though I have seen a couple of side quest lines that
Dang. For some reason I thought he didn't cut as much as he does in editing.
of friends of mine were streaming, And in one of them, it felt really important. Like they exposed a big web of corruption, and there was a prominent figure that got outed for some bad shit. And once they completed the side quest, nothing changed. That character is still in the exact same position, so that whole side quest, even though you completed it, didn't really have an effect, which takes all of the
It's like
wind
an
out of the sails
MMO.
and makes the journey feel kind of worthless if nothing actually changes in the game. I don't know if that was a bug or maybe they weren't done, but it seemed like they were, and they seemed to think that they were. So I don't know if that's commonplace or if that was like some kind of rare exception. But for the most part, the side quests are significantly more interesting than the main one. Now, let's get to some things that I think people have been misled by. And by far the biggest one, and the one that Starfield really put a lot of eggs in the basket of, is exploration. The go to any planet, explore. You can explore for thousands of hours. There's 1,000 planets to explore, and they're all fucking amazing. You're gonna lose yourself in here. You're gonna jack into the Starfield world, and you never want to go back to cringe old Earth. The real world is, can't even compete with what Starfield's got. And man, that couldn't be more wrong. That is so far from the truth, it makes me want to spit.
Who really wants to explore desolate areas? And who really thinks that they're gonna fill all these areas? I just don't know, man.
I tried to do the exploring. I
Like, what did you? I don't know what people want. Like, no man, go play No Man's Sky. People aren't like.
really did. But when you explore a planet, like let's say you go to one of the main planets, and instead of going to the main city, you land somewhere else on the planet. My thought was, with everything they said, you could land on that side of the planet and then run all the way to the main city if you wanted to. I decided to try the
Oops.
people have been misled by. I tried to do the exploring. I really did. But when you explore a planet, like let's say you go to one of the main planets, and instead of going to the main city, you land somewhere else on the planet. My thought was, with everything they said, you could land on that side of the planet and then run all the way to the main city if you wanted to. And I tried to test this because I thought it was a cool idea. For example, I had contraband on my ship, and when you're going to one of these planets that is a central one, really,
I'm about to make an
they,
AI art of this guy.
they will scan your ship, and if you have contraband, they either arrest you or you become an outlaw
Sorry,
and
I'm
they'll try
trying to
and hunt you
capture
down and
a.
all that, and then you can't land at the main city. So I decided to try the outlaw thing. I ran away and then I landed on the planet outside of the main city where you're allowed to do that with contraband. And I thought it would be really cool if I ran from there to the main city so I could keep my contraband, keep my ship parked outside.
Dang, and you couldn't do that. All right, let me. I'm gonna take a screenshot.
And still continue the main quest while keeping the contraband and never going to jail. So I started running, and I ran for about 15 minutes. And it turns out you can't run from that to the main city or anything like that on any planet, apparently. There's a lot of invisible walls, if you can believe that, which is very
Like, how close was he though?
disappointing to hear. And during my entire journey, the spent going across this planet, it was entirely fucking empty. Just rocks, flat ground, and a couple of space animals. And by couple, I mean one space animal type per planet from everything I've seen. And they just kind of stack them occasionally in clusters so that way it feels like it's somewhat alive. And that's it. There's a couple of places you can visit outside there, such as like a cave that has.
I I'm not as mad about this as most people are.
has a little bit more to it, or like a very small little mining colony on that planet in particular where there's like 5 people and a robot, and that's it. There's nothing to explore. Nothing at all to explore from what I've seen. Unless you just really love sitting in an empty, open world with nothing to do. Now, there was a moment during this long, empty voyage here through the void where a spaceship flew in, and it was like a random event. Some outlaws coming in. They parked, and I snuck aboard their ship, and I killed all of them. And the game has a cool mechanic where you can steal ships, which I think is great.
Whoa.
Great. And I decided to try and unleash a bit of a galaxy brain gamer maneuver. I still had all my contraband on the ship that I parked way back on that planet, and now I just stole this completely fresh outlaw ship. So I thought, maybe I can keep my ship parked over there, and I take this ship to the main city because there's no contraband here, so if they scan it, it'll be clean and I should be able to land there. I thought this would be a really creative way of getting around the scan and the contraband while being able to keep it without ever being arrested or anything. But it turns out you can't do that. So I stole the ship, and what it did is it put the contraband from
Oh, that's good to know. That sucks.
my main ship onto this new stolen ship. And thus the contraband was immediately alerted to the space hall monitors, the police force. They came and they blew me up. So it just feels like, at least so far in my limited playtime with it, of course, since apparently 12 hours is the bare minimum before things really open up, that there's not as much freedom in this game as I was led to believe there would be, especially with the exploration. There really isn't anything overly ambitious about this game. Procedurally generated, soulless, empty worlds to explore.
Hey, just because it's procedurally generated doesn't mean it's soulless. I think there is an art to all of that.
Isn't fun. Like, yeah, there's a ton of planets you can go to, and that's cool, I guess, until you actually go there and realize how tiresome it is, and how not fun at all that component of it is.
Bruh, I just, like, they can't.
Which is a huge selling point of it. It's just disappointing, really. Now, another big thing is this game is kind of like a loading screen simulator. Since exploration is so fucking awful, most of the time you're just going to be fast traveling around.
Yeah, like, what was it? Dead? No. Those roguelikes, you know? There's a lot of roguelikes that are procedurally generated, but it's not like a person just clicks a button and walks away. Like, there's a lot of parameters. It's just like AI. Like, the more parameters, the more you pay attention to it, it actually maybe could make way better, cooler things than, you know, in way faster time.
On this game anyway. So you're constantly going to be going from loading screen to loading screen. And on PC that's fine because it's quick, but it's just constant loading screen simulator anytime you're doing anything because you don't...
Yeah, Dead Cells. That's what I was trying to think of. Like, that game's awesome, and it's never the same path. Or, you know, exactly. And if it was, it would be much more boring. So, like, if you didn't have the procedural generated, it would just be like Outer Worlds or something, you know?
Really have any reason to explore or actually run there. There's just not a lot of interesting things to do along the way, so why not fast travel? So there's a lot of that. And another bafflingly odd decision is there's no real map. So if you go somewhere in...
I think it was Mass Effect 2 or 3, you could land on any planet. And it was a similar thing where it was just like desolate with like these little few checkpoints. But if you think about it, if all this was real in real life, it would be the same thing. Not every planet would be full of tons of things.
In the game, you land on a planet, land in a city, wherever. If you try and bring up a map, there isn't one. And I don't get why. It's super easy to get lost because of that when it was so easily rectifiable. Just put a fucking map. Like, it's 2023 and now we took away the map? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what's there is bad. Like, it's not even replacing a map. It's just there is none. What you can do is pull up your scanner and do like 360 degrees in circles to try and locate the interesting point you want to go to. Like if you want to go to the industrial district of a place, you can pull up your scanner and then look around with your character and then see over there and then you can run at it. But there's no actual map. So it gets very confusing. Like pretty often.
This is a love-hate thing for me. I think no map forces players to be more immersed and not just like stare at the right-hand corner. I don't know.
Actually, until you really start to become super familiar with the locations. And another decision that's just, I don't understand why they wouldn't even think to include it, is there's no vehicles to explore the empty worlds. Like, if there was vehicles or a faster way of traversing them, I guess it could be a little more interesting because then at least it wouldn't be a massive time investment of doing nothing. But there's no, like, Mako or anything. There's no vehicle to get you around in any kind of timely fashion. So it just makes it even more monotonous. At least there's not so far, and I haven't seen one from any of the footage I've watched from this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no vehicles. And unlike No Man's Sky, you can't just fly around your ship like above the ground on the planet. But again, it's go play No Man's Sky if you want to go to random planets and run around.
Any of the streamers. I guess it's possible that there is later, maybe. I don't really know, but even still, it is a huge oversight not to at least have something to make exploring a little more interesting and a little less slow. At least I feel like it's an oversight not to have something like that because all it can do is improve the game by making it a little more fun to just get from
I agree, though. Vehicles are always cool and better.
point A to point B. But yeah, another thing, the combat is better in this game than most Bethesda games in terms of like how fluid and smooth the shooting itself is. Like the gameplay is smoother, for sure. And the jetpack, I'm not using the jetpack in my playthrough. I'm doing a fucking caveman build, so mainly melee.
Oh, I didn't know there's jetpack.
The jetpack is cool from everything I've seen, and it has some nice perks that can make things very interesting.
Oh man, I really want a jetpack now.
So I do think Bethesda has polished off their.
Yeah. I guess it's hard to call Starfield an open world game, though, in all honesty. But to me, open world games, that's what they are anyway. Yeah, you can run back and forth and find these little random events, but then the game is much smaller and I don't know. I think this is just like another Bethesda game with their same formula and everything. But, you know, a little cooler and more polished. Baby steps, I guess.
Shooting in particular here, so the combat does feel a bit more fluid thanks to making it a less janky game than, you know, what we're used to from Bethesda.
Well, like he said earlier in the video, wherever you land, there is like an invisible wall 360 around you that's like pretty far away. So, yeah, it's hard to say it's open world because you have to teleport to a different part. I mean, you can go to every part, but you can't run there, if that makes sense. Like, you can land on every part of a planet, but once you get to the invisible wall, you'd have to fly up, move a little bit, and then land again. And it's just because how the procedural generation works.
But that being said,
And this game is like a crazy genius masterpiece in hiding all of that. Because, okay, what game is similar to what Starfield really promised? That would be Star Citizen, which, yeah, we see how that's going. Almost deemed impossible.
still exactly what we're used to with Bethesda when it comes to its gameplay loop. It's exactly the fucking same. The combat here is literally just Fallout combat, but without VATS. And it
Yeah, that's true. I was trying to figure out if it had VATS or not. Maybe it does later.
like I said, it is smoother, but it's still just the same goddamn thing. There's not a new crazy amount of depth. There's not a new crazy.
Yeah. Dude, Star Citizen looks beautiful. Like, there's so many things that are amazing about it. even in VRChat, they remade a lot of the worlds and ships. I actually made a few videos about them. It's just I don't know. They you really don't know what's going on in the heads of those developers after so many years and so much money.
Crazy amount of things that you can do in combat here.
Yeah, dude, I saw posts on Star Citizen forum that were like, dude, I've fully grown up ever since this game started Kickstarter. You know, like all these life events have happened to me, which is kind of sad.
That we haven't already been doing in Bethesda games for over a decade now. Like it just they've polished off what they've had for 10 years instead of building what they had for 10 years. Instead of adding cool shit on top of their Bethesda combat formula, they're more than fine to just have the exact same combat but make it play a little bit better. And again, for a lot of people that's fine. There's a lot of people out there that don't want any kind of like big changes to the combat in Bethesda games or new additions. They're totally fine if they can just deliver the exact same combat.
What's funny about Star Citizen is after all this controversy with Starfield came out, they're all kind of like reassuring themselves that they made the right decision when it's like, dude, some of you spent thousands of dollars on a imaginary spaceship, which, you know, is whatever. I think NFTs and digital goods are definitely going to be a thing. But the game's not out yet, and you're buying like mega ships for all this money when you should be mad at them for not focusing on gameplay.
But without the jankiness. And for those people, Starfield's going to feel great because, like I said, this is definitely the smoothest gunplay I think Bethesda has had so far. But I would just think, after all of this time, they'd want to do more than that. Like, it's just underwhelming. Like I said, everything in Starfield I think is good. Like, everything is good. There's nothing in here I think is, like, actually shit. There are definitely things I think are a bit weak, but nothing I would actually say is truly bad or awful. It's just this whole package is just so disappointing because I'm just tired of playing the exact same Bethesda game without anything really changing about it. Even bugs that were present 10 years ago are still present in Starfield. Of course, they're not game breaking, like they're very minor things, and for a lot of people, the bugs add charm, but come on. Like, it's been over a decade and you still have the same bugs in this game as you did all the way back then. Like,
What bug are you
it
talking
shows
about?
a complete lack of drive to do something different. They just want to keep delivering the same Bethesda experience. And again, a lot of people want that. I am not one of those people. I wanted more, and I hoped Starfield would be more. So again,
I guess
nothing in it
to
is
be
bad.
fair, the marketing did market it that way. And I hate that. Dude, marketing gets so much money compared to actual game developers. Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, the marketing was like the most money that like the marketing was where all the money was thrown at. And everybody was like, "Man, these games had so much money put into them." It's like, "No, dude, it's just ads." Cuz unfortunately, that does directly translate into sales. Not really a good game.
If you like Bethesda games, you are no doubt going to like this. But if you wanted more than a Bethesda game, if you wanted Bethesda to be a little more ambitious, you might not be super satisfied. So, this is kind of my review of it. It's not a moist meter, but we are still going to have a moist meter for Starfield. It just won't be done by me. A lot of you might not remember, but Jackson actually does the moist meters with me. We usually talk to each other about how we're feeling about the things we moist meter. And I'm tapping out on Starfield. I don't see myself finishing it. I can't find the
Damn,
motivation to
dude.
push through the boredom. Jackson is loving it. Jackson is someone who's more than comfortable getting the exact same Bethesda experience and nothing more. So Jackson will do the moist meter. So we can get my perspective entirely here and Jackson's entirely on the moist meter. So that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight with Starfield. That's really about it. So yeah.
Dang, dude. So I would say that's probably a negative review, man. After not even he didn't get to the 12-hour mark, which is apparently when it gets good. before he even quit. Honestly, I've only played like 4 or 5 hours, and yeah, I love it, but I'm not like in the clouds about it. Ever since Cyberpunk, man, my my hype has been demolished. And Cyberpunk has come around. I'm actually very excited for the new DLC coming. 26th, September 26th. It's actually even going to change the main game and everything. Like CD Projekt Red they're redeeming themselves, even though they were amazing and then they weren't, and now maybe they'll be amazing again. Anyways, I wanted to see a good review of Starfield. So let's see. This dude played 100 hours.
In this In this Starfield review, we'll dive into the full release of Bethesda's most ambitious project to date and tell you if it's worth the 10-year wait.
I will say this. I used to be like I'm a graphic artist. I make 3D stuff. I make like kind of like I was kind of like graphics are more to me than a lot of other people because I appreciate them more as like a fellow artist, I guess. So I find myself in the game a lot, stopping and appreciating even like rock textures and stuff like that, just because it's like cool that they got it to look so good and still run at least 30 frames.
With many fans disappointed by the studio's latest releases, everyone is wondering if the game will actually deliver on the quality that made Bethesda famous. Well, watch on to find out. Starfield is set in a universe where humanity has conquered space travel and spread across what is known as the settled systems. It is the year 2330
Yeah, and I purposely picked the no spoiler review too.
and around 20 years before the start of the game, the two largest factions in the settled systems, the United Colonies and Freestar Collective, engaged in a bloody conflict called the Colony War. Today, the major factions enjoy an uneasy peace, but the settled systems are still...
Also, like on a little tangent, there's one dude that wanted to go to Pluto, and like you could warp there, but you could also actually just fly there, and it took like 8 hours or something. So I guess in the space, it's like open space.
Pretty dangerous. There are plenty of human threats out there like the ecliptic mercenaries, pirates of the Crimson Fleet, violent spacers, or even the fanatical religious zealots of the House of Va'ruun. Bethesda has done a good job.
That robot guy, he's like, not really a spoiler. It's like your first companion guy. He's so cool the way they made him. Like you can obviously tell the art style for Starfield is what they refer to it as NASA punk. And that this all screams that to me, man. It's such a cool new art direction that looks like a lunar rover, man.
Of creating unique factions and fleshing out their histories and actions, providing world building that will set the proper stage for your adventures. If you're a fan of sci-fi and want to get an idea on how this was approached, think more The Expanse meets No Man's Sky rather than Mass Effect. Since this is an RPG, your character will take on the role of an explorer and travel the galaxy in pursuit of its secrets or riches, fueled by your own curiosity, righteousness, maliciousness, or even greed. Along this journey, you will find companions and recruit crew members, giving you the opportunity to experience their backstories and hear their takes on locations, history,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that crazy city-looking thing.
and current events. Overall, the story of Starfield sets off in typical RPG fashion with a blank slate of a hero that you fill in, and a variety of options to become whatever kind of character you may fancy. This is fortunately where the typical part of the story ends, and I have to...
Oh yeah, not really a spoiler either. You start off as like a miner guy, and this is like I'm a miner person.
to say, I was incredibly surprised by the originality of the story itself. I went into Starfield 100% blind to what may be awaiting me with some basic knowledge of what was revealed by Bethesda. I thought I had it all quite figured out for a good 20 or 30 hours, and then it all took a leap that sent the game in a really fun direction. While I usually prefer fantasy to sci-fi, I have read a considerable amount of metaphysical sci-fi, social science fiction, space operas, and space westerns. I feel like Starfield has a bit of all of them, and all in the right amount, and it made following the main story a very enjoyable experience that was worth traveling the universe to complete. While not perfect or mind-blowing and featuring some unfortunate narrative clunkiness to comply with gaming mechanics or gaming moments, this is a very enjoyable ride for those seeking to experience the story and universe itself. Starfield's gameplay is
So one thing about the style, the NASA punk style, I actually like that it's not as rusty and dingy as Fallout is. Like that part of Fallout really gets I kind of hate it, where like everything just looks like rust.
at the same time so similar and so different to so many other games that I find myself having a difficult time explaining it. My preferred summary for this is that there's a little bit of everything and a whole lot of little bits. How does that all combine, and does it create a congruent experience though? Let's take a look. Most people will be playing the game to engage with its role-playing mechanics and to interact with this universe in their own unique way. The game has a decent character creator with many options, but I found them a bit weird and could not really create exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, the character creator, like I almost thought it was like stylized, like Fortnite kind of. It was weird.
Perhaps because the interface itself is not intuitive and I got tired of accidentally rolling back changes I had made. You'll get the expected physical customization options alongside the opportunity to pick a background, which gives you your first 3 skills, and some traits that give you both benefits and demerits based on your choices. The variety of backgrounds and traits is nice, although I did find that I had no idea what would be good or wouldn't based on the vague descriptions.
Yeah, this part I had to kind of look up before I picked.
Since these cannot be changed, if you want to know, we have a beginner guide that does go over the best backgrounds and skills if you would like further information about this. Once you're out in the world, your character development will come from
I know what you're saying, but like when you go back, like look at the face, right? It's almost kind of Fortnite-ish, like stylized. But then when you get into the game, it's not like that, really. So it's weird when you're making the character. Because I was a little confused at first.
Once you're out in the world, your character development will come from 2 sources. One is skill points that allow you to unlock more skills and complete challenges to power them up. The other is roleplay, where you slowly
Because that guy looks super good and real and not like Fortnite, so.
develop your personality and relationship with companions to create your impact in the world. You will also be able to customize
It's just right here, right? I don't know.
your equipment and armor, install mods on them, and purchase and customize ships based on activities that you like doing. Overall, I felt like my character was always progressing in some way, and there was always something to do or polish or improve. Exploration and questing is the main focus of Starfield, and it will be the core of your gameplay. Discovering new locations, responding to distress signals, or being a space pirate are all viable paths for you, and you will slowly engage with each aspect and learn how it works and how to
the
master it.
jetpack. That's what I
It
want.
is incredibly overwhelming when you begin, as you're bombarded with information on what you could be doing, and dozens of quests and activities pile up in your mission log. I found myself having to purposefully take a deep breath, relax, and pick one thing to do and learn at a time. Once I got into the groove of the controls that unfortunately are somewhat lacking, I was able to get into my preferred
The controls, yeah, like you really have to figure them out. It's very similar to Fallout 4.
rhythm for exploration gaming. I gathered quests and activities at a hub, then set off for another system and
Like when you go into scanning mode, all the buttons change what they do. Can be a little annoying at first, I guess.
completed objectives, gathered new quests, completed those, then returned to the main hub to progress the story. Along the way, there were hundreds of small distraction traps or shiny object moments that conspired to lead me astray, and thus my play hours slowly extended deeper and deeper into the night. The slowly forming addiction of scanning planets and landing just once to see what's on its surface simply demonstrates that the exploration of new worlds and locations can be very compelling to those who, like me, enjoy open world games. I had some reservations about how it would all work out given the sheer size of the game and the mention of procedurally generated that usually means copy pasta. Thankfully, I felt like the planets and their exploration
Copy
fit the universe
pasta.
and made logical sense, much like Mass Effect Planetary Adventures. Scanning, mining, and creating outposts is a side activity that can consume hundreds and hundreds of hours, but it's entirely skippable for those that are not interested in it. What everyone will surely be interested in, though, is questing, and it's very good. I really enjoyed the depth of interactions and opportunities of intervention. Quest storylines are well crafted, have opportunities for persuasion, bribery, intimidation, theft, or righteousness, and weave into the world and events
Dang. See, look, those graphics look good. That armor's sick. I like all like the hoses and stuff.
seamlessly. Your actions affect the characters and world, your perception of the
Like all the valves and stuff look super cool.
world, and others' views on you. It's all done quite well, and you'll find it a lot closer to the excellence that was Mass Effect. The gunplay and combat in Starfield is probably one of the weaker aspects of the game. Lacking the pause and dismember features of Fallout, free gunning on low-gravity systems against floaty targets, while you yourself jump around and without a cover system was not quite my favorite activity. There's a good
Oh, I guess there. Well, I mean, you could still crouch, but I guess there's no cover system. Yeah.
variety of weapons and mods to customize the experience, and you can opt for mines and frags or even close quarters with a hatchet or sword, but overall the combat was something I wanted to get done with and not what I looked forward to. There are some later game mechanics for combat that do spice things up and add to the fun, but it wasn't enough to make me actually enjoy going into conflict. Perhaps it's all my fault because I didn't roll a stealth archer, but we'll figure that out when we get around
Yeah, I guess to be fair, a lot of times when I do play these games, I'm like the stealth archer type.
to making builds. Ship combat is in a similar vein, somewhat mediocre, with confusing controls and a lot of turning around that can be very overwhelming when you start. I eventually figured out what worked and what didn't, and leveled up my ship parts and skills to a point where it became a lot smoother, thankfully. Your lack of skill will make your ship feel bulky and unresponsive, which is an initial turnoff, and eventually you'll realize that ship combat is simply okay and does not change much from one encounter to another. You can also buy a wide variety of ships that will act very differently in combat and can upgrade parts and even design your ship to look one way or another.
All right, that's cool. I wonder how much design you got on the ship.
All this tinkering does
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
enhance the overall ship experience, but the core combat remained just okay.
Like you could make the Normandy from Mass Effect, probably.
There are some exceptions of larger ship battles that happen for some optional small side quests, and those can be fun due to the intergalactic warfare feel they bring about. Starfield has a pragmatically futurist design that gives the game a feel of realistic or mundane sci-fi. There's no shock and awe at the technology you're using.
Dude, but it's beautiful. Like, I love this style.
Its ancient history, and owning a ship is not dissimilar to owning a boat in the real world. This approach to remove the player from the concept of final frontier to backyard works well within the game to match the more mundane nature of your activities. After all, you would not be able to access or use these amazing tools just to carry out a mission to plant some documents on another planet. Most of the spaceships you use are the clunkers of the expanse, with wire chairs, small bunk beds, and tiny messy galleys.
Dude, like, you can so tell that they looked at NASA and the space station and everything. Like, this is what
cities
Outer Worlds looked like, but they really nailed it in this style.
you visit will go from feeling like the Citadel to cyberpunk to the Wild West, with factories, mining outposts, and utilitarian facilities speckled about. The design philosophy
Like, that looks like Fallout, though. Like, where are we?
carries over to the game's UI, and in my opinion does leave something wanting. It is extremely simple and clean to the point it lacked personality, and at the expense of needed features like a minimap or better inventory tools. Graphically, the game is beautiful and the cutscenes are actually gorgeous. The in-game renders of activities and such are of course lower quality, but given the amazing expansiveness of the content and an incredible amount of options that can pop up, I feel the graphics are at the very top of what can be expected out of even the best developers.
It's true, man. It's true.
Performance-wise, I found the game runs well on both of my computers, meaning my gaming-dedicated rig with a 4090 handling the game flawlessly on mostly ultra settings, supporting FPS in the 90s,
I'm playing on the
consistently and
Xbox.
sporadically over 120 at 1440p.
Xbox
On my 3080
One
Ti,
X.
things ran well with some lower fidelity. The FPS was considerably lower, going on about 45 or so, not really going above 60 on ultra settings at 1440p. Reducing graphic quality improved this, of course, so plan to play on high or such if you're in this range. There was minor texture pop in here and there, but it was not a persistent issue, and it did not.
Man, that's a good question. He said, would you say Starfield has better startup than Outer Worlds? Ah, dude. Outer Worlds, like, the beginning and everything with its comedy and seriousness, I would say no. Outer Worlds intro is better.
Feel it pulled me out of the game. I didn't encounter crashes or game progress bugs, which was a very big relief, as many recent releases have been plagued by such issues.
But that being said, Outer Worlds does feel, smaller, not as ambitious as this game. But again, with Obsidian and the writing, it's top notch.
What I did find are numerous instances of graphical glitches or small bugs that are typical of the Fallout series. For instance, camera zooming into an NPC's head when they're talking, and the conversation is had from an unviewable angle. Or the NPC keeps walking as it talks to you or doesn't turn to see you, and a guard in the main town that
Oh my god, dude, that's hilarious. What is happening?
My planet needs me, and flew out onto a ledge while we were having a conversation. Other characters and companions may get stuck in pathing and stop following you, and then reappear by your side, or may get in the way of you and an objective button that you cannot reach because they are in the way. These are all minor complaints and not the kind of issue that is when a quest doesn't progress or an item crashes your game. Of course, I cannot be sure of all the possible combinations of possible issues, so we'll have to see what happens when more people get a chance to play with many different configurations and try out every level of each skill, etc. Besides that, my only other complaint is one I don't have a good solution for. The game has so many systems and subsystems that I found the controls both complex and insufficient. There were too many things in menus to access or browse individually without giving me more quality of life features that I really wanted. There are too many systems to learn management of via different controls, which is simply a function of the many sub-activities of the game. The audio and soundtrack for the game, on the other hand, are flawless.
Yeah, I think Fallout, right? You had like the radio or whatever for the ambience. And if you turn the radio off, you got like that creepy soundtrack. But this one has really good soundtracks for sure.
Each and every interaction you have is voiced and voiced well. You can even overhear entire convincing conversations as you walk by bars.
Yeah, so another cool thing is like I'm the type of person that wants to talk to every NPC, like see what's up, and you don't have to go up to them and press A and look at them. Like you could just go by, if you go in front of them, they'll talk to you. So that is like pretty cool.
Or hangouts. The music and tunes are a perfect
like you can press A to talk to them, but you don't need to.
Match for the theme and setting and expertly set the mood for your adventures. Usually when we talk about open world games, we bypass the replayability option as the experience itself is so expansive that most people would simply go through once and be done with it. Starfield is one of the rare games where, given the many choices and opportunities for player agency, there is value to both explore extensively and reroll another character.
And that's what it is. I think that's Bethesda's strong arm that not a lot of people think about is the replayability is so high compared to some games. Like even Red Dead Redemption, yeah, it's replayable, but not as much,
Starfield is a truly massive game that can mean thousands of hours of gameplay to those who want to deeply engage with the abundant systems made available for the player. Exploration and outpost management, which will surely be enhanced by the community via mods, are one of those.
Oh yeah, and don't even get me started on mods. Before I even got the game, I realized people on PC are already like modding it to make it run better and stuff. And normally mods are whatever, but the mods that make it run better, those ones kind of get me.
Time sinks that people can truly get lost in, much like the camp was in Fallout. But even ignoring outposts and the scanning and exploration of the hundreds upon hundreds of worlds available, there's an incredible amount of customized and engaging content to get through in the form of extensive, interesting, and rewarding quests. There are some activities that simply amount to buy this person a coffee or generic repeatable missions to hunt down a pirate fleet and destroy them, or deliver cargo to another planet. However, the vast majority of
What's up, Fallout guy? What are you doing in this game?
quests are actually contextual to the world and provide depth and nuance to where you are and what is happening. The faction quests are well defined, well done, and
see, it's like this angle when you talk to people. Being honest, Mass Effect did the same thing, and they were made fun of for the same thing. I don't know how to solve it really, but just the straight-on angle, I don't think it's enough.
I really wanted to see where they all went. The rewards for completing them also felt interesting, giving me options I did not have before, and changing my standing with the world as I worked my way to the multiple endings. All in all, I spent 70 hours with my main character. That
70, dude.
It was
Oh wait, you said
mostly
100
gunning
though.
the main story and another 30 on a secondary
Oh, okay,
character
okay.
that was messing around with mechanics and outposts and checking out what different choices did.
So yeah, you see like her huge backpack. If she would sit down on that chair right there, it would make the backpack invisible and not like weird looking, and then it would just be way better than clipping into the chair.
So, having played about 100 hours of Starfield, and given I don't feel like I'm done yet, Starfield's asking price of $69.99 USD feels justified, and it seems like an outright steal to get with Game Pass, as you'll be getting incredible value for money. Final thoughts. Starfield is the game that Bethesda Game Studios needed to reassert themselves as creators of fantastic gaming experiences. Clearly a work of passion and the product of
That's Fallout. They must have a Fallout world. That's kind of exciting.
a decade of hard work. Starfield will surprise the naysayers with its good performance and relatively minimal
Yeah,
bugs.
I like the cyberpunk.
Delivering a
place, too.
solid story experience with fantastic graphics in an incredibly expansive universe that is free for the taking,
9.4.
Starfield is sure to become a favorite for many gamers and joins the ranks of titles such as Mass Effect in the pantheon of sci-fi gaming. Starfield is a compelling and engaging interstellar adventure that successfully blends
awesome,
core RPG mechanics with open-world exploration and deep questing. A complete delight from start to finish and an instant classic for any gamer that enjoys sci-fi and is ready for adventure.
Nice. That was a good video. Seemed pretty unbiased. The Moist Critical one, it's like, how much can you say if you don't play the whole game? But again, he does have a point with, if it's not trying to grip you right away, that's kind of a flaw. All right. I have another idea. Let's look at some glitches, man. Oh, but I don't want any spoilers, though, I guess. Here we go. Let's check out some of these funny glitches.
Now I know that kind of talk. You two Marines?
Constellation, actually.
What?
What?
You guys still exist? Man, I've only heard stories.
We've heard stories too, about a strange object you found on patrol.
Oh my god.
I knew it!
Oh my god.
Tommy Bentley. And research intern. Word is the Frontier was involved in an attack? It's true, right? You saw some real action?
This lady is interested.
This is great! Great! My boss, Nadia Mufaz, would
Hey.
kill to talk to you. An actual eyewitness!
Help! Help! I'm being attacked!
Wait, what was that?
Look out!
I don't like where this is going.
No, 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 no! Stop! Stop! Please, lady, you don't understand. You don't know what you're doing here.
You're coming with me.
Whoops, there's my voice. My bad. Ha ha ha. I forgot to turn mute off. My bad. Thanks for letting me know, man. Jesus. Oh my god. Dude, that's so evil. I refuse to do that. I will not do that. Dude. Wow. Wow. Oh yeah, that was straight out of Zelda, dude.
林克，我操！
Oh. Yeah, dude, for science. I mean, to be fair, that works on Minecraft too.
Hey, you. Finally awake.
Oh man. What's funny is they are working on the new Skyrim or the new Elder Scrolls.
Oh. You're a fucking idiot.
Dude. Okay, dude, this is like Mass Effect. Okay.
Alright, let's get the fuck out of here.
I know what happened there, man. Like when you spawn NPCs and stuff, you want to raise them up a little bit because you don't want them to clip into anything when they start moving around, but you're not supposed to see it like that.
No more Cowboy Town.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like I have a VRChat world, and when you spawn in, the same thing happens, but you don't see until you're on the ground.
What? What?
Be practical. Thanks again.
Dang, maybe he's supposed to be that way.
Be careful, Captain. Alien creatures are often unpredictable.
Dude, space, man. Gravity. What is happening? Oh, you're stuck. Oh. Whoa, that robot looks cool. Wow. I wonder if there's a way to encourage glitches.
How can I help you?
Oh, he's floating.
And there are 2 locations in
This is going on. What the fuck?
It's so weird how that happens a lot. I wonder why. That was pretty good, man. You know, that wasn't that bad though. There's nothing like, okay, the stealing the gun thing, that's kind of game breaking. I always was interested. It's always interesting that Bethesda lets you move objects around the world like that. You know, I think this Photoshop is good enough, man, for now. Don't feel like really... Yeah, I think it's fine, whatever. Let me save it and change it. Alright, let's do one more video with the glitches.
All we know for certain at this point is that whoever created the artifacts are the same beings that built the temple. Anything else is just guesswork.
Oh my god.
I might as well put on a blindfold and toss darts at people.
Oh my god.
Give it your best shot.
Oh my god, stop, bro.
We know
I'm
for-
stuck. Can you help me?
Oh god, it's so good.
You've got something for me?
Oh my god. I mean, that was just bad timing.
Damn, girl, you look like a...
See, they make the eyes lock onto you too weirdly. Or the eyes lock onto you, or just stay shut.
No, stop! What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Me!
Bro.
What am I doing? Doing anything fun? No! Oh my god! No! No!
Dude, that sucks. It's gonna not have any crewmates.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
Oh my god.
Chill!
That sucks. She really needed to talk, yeah.
I still
Dude, I
can't
don't want her on my team. Like, she's involved in all the glitches. I don't want you, blonde lady.
believe it. Constellation. The stories make them seem so exotic, so, well, romantic, almost. How is it for real? You liking it?
Damn, boy!
What the
Nice.
Okay, or you get crazy camera angles like this. Oh
Goodbye,
no!
world.
Oh no! Oh!
Bro. Dude, they did it on purpose. They had to have done it on purpose with this NPC. Or maybe she's like the first one or something. What?
I need to ask you to stop. That shouting is making people nervous. Can't say I've heard of any laws against whatever that is you're doing, but I'll lock you up if I have to.
Okay. So in Skyrim, they react to what you're doing. Alright, that's kind of bad. This lady
Let's grab the
again.
artifact.
Sarah. Alright, this is a
Until later.
vibe.
Good work. Not only are we getting an artifact, but we saved our Vanguard friend as well.
I don't know if these have to be kind of rare though.
I have to go now.
Dude, the
My
flying
planet needs me.
NPC. And it's a quest person. Good luck getting that quest.
Was connected to sneezing, but
Here she goes again, man. Sarah, the glitch queen.
I would like to have understood the specific etymology of those words.
Ah, well, I don't
Chosen
think
by
that's
the gods.
necessary. Hey,
Dude, this is sick.
bye for now.
Hey there.
Oh, bro.
Welcome back.
Yeah, that was a weird table. But I guess, you know, in space, everything's all close together.
Pardon.
Oh my god. I'm surprised this hasn't happened to me yet.
Anything I can do for you?
Try me, bitch.
Dude, you're just stuck in conversations? Ugh. I mean, that's the reason I save all the time, man. Also, I chose very hard when I started playing. I don't know what these people are playing on. Aw, bruh. That's cool.
I could really use the work to pay off some debts. Anyone can shoot at targets. But
She knows something, man.
I take them out. What is that? You're not gonna find a better shot anywhere else. So
She's like, man, this dude's lying.
Oh my god, no way, yeah. I'm not asking for that much.
This was pretty low on the list of things I wanted to do.
You know, I love the Dragon Ball Z sound effect. Yeah, dude. Goku was so cool with his weird alien outfit. Talking to Trunks, both going Super Saiyan. That was good, man. Well, unfortunately, I do have some editing to do, so I'm going to have to end the stream here. Again, it's always a pleasure, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. I got my Photoshop done. Watched some Starfield stuff. I was kind of worried that the game was worse than I thought it was, but I think it's going to be fine. I think everybody, you know, they really want content, all this and that. Yeah, man. Until next time. Peace.